Look, it's all zeros. 0% financing, 0% down, 0% repairs and labor costs for 10 years. Experience the premier difference today. Financing is available with approved credit. Offer expires 9/30/2024. Premier Heating and Air is offering system checkups. Heat or AC, your choice, $49. Free estimate restrictions may apply, and this offer can't be combined with other offers. Experience the premier difference today. Log on to dublin.premierishere.com. Premier Heating and Air, a locally owned and operated company.
We're out here at the Across the Creek Cemetery, which is a nationally known historic black cemetery that was built in Dublin, Georgia as part of the North Side Cemetery, where they buried all the whites and they buried all the blacks in the Across the Creek Cemetery. I don't believe it was named Across the Creek at that time. And you're not old enough to know, but do you by chance have any background on that?
Well, according to everything that Scott Thompson has documented, it was largely known as the cemetery across the creek. And so the name went from Cross Creek Cemetery to Across the Creek Cemetery, but largely reflected the creek reference.
Exactly right. And if I remember correctly, that the only way you could get to this cemetery at the time was they had built the road, which would have been right behind those apartment complexes there.
That is correct.
And certain times when the river or the lake or whatever it is that's back there would overflood, you couldn't get back here.
That is correct.
And as a matter of fact, the land would be all wet and everything with that too. But the city came in and did a remarkable job in getting a different entrance where you wouldn't have to worry about the water.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Now, do you have any family buried back here?
I do not. There are relatives who are back here, but not close relatives.
Not close relatives, right. I know the May family have relatives back here because Sonia May and Edwin May did a landscape back here. And they came back here and they found theirs. So I know the May family does have some relatives back here. And then Sugar Ray Robinson built his grandmother. As a matter of fact, you can see her grave site because he put a new marker on her grave site. So you can see it from the road here where his grandmother is buried. But we got a lot of other markers that we cannot really identify. Do you know of anybody else that may be buried back here?
I do not, but as you said, some of the graves are partially identified and you can see part of the names, and others you can see the full name. So it is remarkable that there are some old headstones that are still legible, and it is an experience to come and see that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you've never been to Cross the Creek Cemetery, you've missed a history lesson, because it is a history lesson back here, and it's awesome. And we've had a lot of persons to come from out of state and in state from other cities and towns and look at the list of names on there and picked out that that's part of their family. And it's awesome. It's really awesome.
And whenever you look at a cemetery, it's interesting to note, and as documented here, some of the people were a large part of history in many different ways. There are people who were war soldiers from, and I should say a lot of wars, including dating back to the Civil War on both sides of the fight. And we also have people who are remarkable in the community. But all of that history is documented in what we have here for the Cross Creek Cemetery. So again, do come and look. You will find relatives here if your family has dates back before the 1900s, and it is very, very interesting.
Very much so. Very much so. And I thank you, Carl, for giving us that information. Thank you so very much.
Hi, I'm Meg Greer-Evans with Middle Georgia Estate Planning here in Dublin, Georgia. At Middle Georgia Estate Planning, we focus on estate planning, which covers the creation of wills, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives, as well as the creation of revocable or irrevocable trusts. We also specialize in elder law and can assist with guardianships and conservatorships, as well as asset protection for those that are looking to their elder years in life and wondering how they'll plan for their care. If you have any questions about estate planning or elder law, or how you can protect your assets for your care and the future of your family, give us a call at 478-272-2885.
Hey, I'm Perry at Williamson's Bakery. For 60 years, my family's bakery has supported area athletic programs. And I would like to personally thank you for supporting us. And I'd also like to say, go Irish, go Falcons, go Raiders, and go Crusaders. Come in today for all your bread needs, your pies, your donuts, and all your birthday cakes. If you'd like to do a special order, give us a call at 272-3344. Check us out on Facebook as well. So if you need a special order for a tailgate, give us a call the day before. We'd love to take care of you. So call or come by today. We're located at 1634 Veterans Boulevard, or you can call us at 478-272-3344, or you can catch us on Facebook. Williamson's Bakery, waking and baking since 1965.
All right, I've invited Carl Pearson to come because he knows the background and how this cemetery developed and how his cemetery developed beyond that. So I've invited Carl to give us a little background on it. Carl, if you will.
Well, as Ms. Driger said, there's a lot of history here, and it largely starts with what our historian, attorney Scott Thompson, has well documented. The first cemetery that was successful for black people in Dublin was the one across the street from what is currently the Second Baptist Church, and it was the Second Baptist Church Cemetery here in Scottsville. And
You mean developed for black people?
it was developed for black people.
Right.
It was developed specifically for black people.
Exactly.
And at the time, it was the only place in town where black people were buried, as most black people were still buried out in the county area, in the country, close to where they lived and close to where their families lived. So it was an urbanization thing that happened when people started burying here in Scottsville. Well, there was a lot of competition in Scottsville for property and land, as there was a lot of industry, factories, and other things that were located in that area along the time. So it was deemed to be, that cemetery was deemed to be full at a certain point in time. And so after it was full, then the city then came to Cross Creek. And that's where Ms. Driger can pick up that history.
Cross the creek. This is, Cross the Creek is the section that I explained to you earlier, which is a part of the Northview Cemetery, where they have all the whites buried, and they brought all the blacks across the creek. And I don't know how it got started, named Across the Creek instead of being, I kind of suspect that they named it as a part of the Northview Cemetery across the creek.
Correct.
Is how it really got. And this is where all the blacks are buried that could not, but it's still a city cemetery. Northview is a city cemetery. Across the creek is a city cemetery. Okay? But you know, across the creek, after we buried by 1,500 or 2,000 back here, it got full. Then what did we do, Carl, after that? Is that when your cemetery came into play?
That is correct. So what happened was, as Ms. Driger said, there was a location issue with this cemetery, and then it was truly crossed the creek. So there were times when, because of water, because of access to this area, Cross Creek was not available when funerals were taking place. So Herbert Dudley and again, one of the pastors at Second Baptist Church established the Dudley Memorial Cemetery. That was in 1934. So about that time, there were two places where you could bury. You could bury at Cross Creek, which was largely complete and full, and then there was Dudley Memorial, which was new. And there was no access issues to go to Dudley Memorial, and it was again in one of the popular Scottsville neighborhoods. So it's right again across the creek.
Across the creek, right. And this is a beautiful place. The markers help mark the graves, but I know we've got some graves out there that are not marked because we don't know. But we weren't able to identify persons being buried out there. And we've got some graves that have stone markers on them, but the majority of them do not. All of them, the majority of them were without markers. And then some of the stone markers, if you ever come out here to see, they've kind of deteriorated and you may not be able to read who's buried there now because of weather conditions kind of destroy stuff a little bit. But the markers are still there, but you may not know who's buried there. So if you ever get a chance to come out here and look at the list that's on the display there, you might find your family member may be buried out there. We just can't tell you where they're buried out there. And unless you've got someone in your family that knows where they're buried, we won't know where they're buried. We just know that a body is buried there. It's like I stated previously, it's on the National Historic Register. It's a beautiful place and it's awesome. We have benches out here where you can sit and eat your lunch if you want to. And we developed all of this, the city did, once they found out it was back here. Paved roads, so you don't have to worry about getting in the water or anything to drive back here because it's all nice and new. I guess the marker that would identify you with, we do have a marker at the entranceway, but if you ever get to the water plant, you know you're at the cemetery.